Dee, will you double check and see if we're on the YouTubes?
Sure.
We are here for the Idaho for sentencing. Brian Kohberger. So, what should we expect today? You've got lawyer Lauren, you have got paralegal D. You should expect us to take a little break around noon because my boss D over here has a meeting scheduled, even though we had this on our calendar. So we will take a little break around 12 o'clock. Should only take about 30 minutes at most, but we will be back. So today, for the Kohberger hearings, what do we expect? I do not expect any statement from Brian Kohberger. I expect us to hear the victim impact statements. I expect the judge to take the plea that they've agreed to for consecutive life terms plus 10 years for burglary. I don't expect anything different. We will see what happens. I've heard some rumors that we might only be seeing immediate family only. We don't know. This could take one day, it could take 2 days. If it's immediate family only, it could still go on for a while. I know that Maddie's sister said that she's not going to let Kohberger have any additional power over her. She doesn't want to give him any emotion because he's a sociopath. It's not going to make a difference. But we will get to see just how this crime has impacted the families, the victims, the ripple effect of a crime. It's not just the 4 people who lost their lives that day, whose lives are taken from them brutally that day, but there's grieving that's gone throughout the community, throughout their families. It's definitely changed lives. And today we are going to hear the families talk about how their lives have just been forever changed. That's what I expect. Now, the judge, he's not going to be able to give a harsher sentence. The only harsher sentence here is the death penalty. This plea is the second harshest sentence. He's not going to go lower on this. That would be an option. Death penalty, though, that would have to be given. They'd have to take that to a jury. But he could give a lesser sentence. It's not likely. So I don't think we're going to see that today. But it should be a pretty emotional day. Let me go ahead and share. And Dee, do you see us on?
You're live.
Awesome. All right, channel surfers. This is our first time testing the live. Told you I'd have it set up. I just could not get it set up on the TikTok. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. This is the Ava County website. And let's see if they've got the live stream going. Oh, they've got it on YouTube. All right. Right here. Let's see what's happening. Probably nothing yet. Should start. Well, it should start now. It's supposed to be at 9 o'clock. All right. So we've got it up. We are waiting for it to start. Let me play around here with this. I should be able to see comments. Let's look at the chat. Live stream chat. All right. Hey, everyone. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I just figured out the live stream chat. We're a baby podcast. We've been doing this for 3 months. This is our first live trying it through the platform we use for recording. Dee, do you have any questions? Paralegal D, any questions about today's hearing? What are you thinking?
I just want to see him get everything he deserves.
Yeah. And a lot of people would disagree right now that he's not getting everything he deserves. They want the death sentence. There's always a risk when you go to trial, always a risk in a criminal case. There's been a gag order on this case, which was just lifted this week. The press did go to the judge. The judge had said he didn't see any reason for the gag order to remain in place. If somebody filed a motion beforehand, he would reconsider it. So he did reconsider it this week. and they did lift the gag order. Now, that just means that the parties that were bound by it can speak now. After today, we may see more people coming out. We just have to see. I don't expect the defense to talk about the case. But yeah, as far as everything he deserves, this is the highest penalty without death. So there was a risk. There was a 50-50 shot. If you go in front of a jury, we don't know what the strengths or the weaknesses were in the case. The state had a high burden beyond a reasonable doubt. So, you know, I don't know if we'll get to see what they're thinking. Now, a lot of people, they wanted it to go to the trial because they wanted to know why. And sometimes that's not an answer that we get. Even with a conviction, it doesn't mean that we get that answer. We're here in the low country of South Carolina, and I'm in the Charleston area. Dee is in Georgetown area. And we watched the Murdaugh case. We didn't get answers from that. We don't know why.
No, just a lot of speculation.
Just speculation. So we would have seen everything laid out for the state side. We would have seen the defense poke holes in that, but it doesn't mean we would have got an answer, even if we did go to a hearing. So, okay, this says, might need to change my share screen. Let's go here. Yeah, there we go. And it still has not started yet. I'm just waiting for it to start. We got 9,000 people watching on the court website. Started streaming it 20 minutes ago. Oh, here we go.
Come to order. Honorable Judge Pickler, presiding.
Be seated. Thank you.
You'll notice Brian Kohberger's
Need 5
initially
minutes?
closed because he has taken the plea. I'm sorry, he's in his jail clothes because he's taken the plea. He'll now be in his orange jumpsuit. 5 minutes. All right. They gave us a 5 minutes heads up. So the judge may just be talking to the parties, letting them know, you know, just what to expect in the courtroom today, making sure he's managing his courtroom. He's done a great job this trial. So, yeah, looks like we're going to go live in about 5 minutes. Dee, what are you thinking?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm having a Monday all week this week.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting you to have me on here.
Well, it kind of helps because sometimes I just think, you know, lawyer mode. I'm not thinking about what might need to be explained, what questions other people might have. I know that when we did the Dateline episode, Liz was asking questions like, what's a gag order? I was like, oh, I didn't even think that someone might have a question about that. So I think it helps.
Yeah.
Although,
and
you know, you're a little bit legal minded too, but
yeah. And I think you covered one of the questions that I think was foremost in my mind. Like a lot of people is why, the why of it. And we may never know why.
We may never know. That is, there might not be a reason. It's senseless. I mean, if we're looking for a logical reason to why someone slaughtered 4 college students.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Reasons for murder, justifiable reasons for murder. You've got self-defense. There's just not a lot of them.
All right. Thank you.
It's not going to be something we would see here. Not in this kind of case.
All right. This is CR 0124316665, State of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoth, Ms. Barlow. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, Mr. Hurwitz, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Allen. This is the time set for sentencing in this case.
Great job It's a tough job to be a criminal defense attorney. You're just making sure that the state
defendant previously entered a
meets
plea
their
of guilty
burden.
to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony
It's a
burglary.
tough spot to be sitting in.
In exchange, the parties stipulated to recommend a sentence consisting of, on
It's going to be
burglary,
to 4
10 years
life
fixed.
sentences back to back. So if
On
there's
each of the 4
reincarnation,
counts
he's
of
coming back
first-degree
and going
murder,
back to
life
jail.
Oh, gosh.
fixed. The parties waived pre-sentence investigation.
This isn't running
To
concurrently at
my
the same
understanding,
time.
neither party submitted a sentencing memorandum or other materials for the court. Court is familiar with the file and the evidence submitted previously by the parties as it has reviewed them throughout the case and in anticipation of trial. Is there any legal cause why sentence should not be imposed at this time?
We shouldn't hear anything.
No, Your Honor.
He asked if there was any reason not to have the life sentences with the 10 years.
Does the
He
state,
stipulated to this.
before impact statements and arguments, wish to present evidence today?
Your Honor, the state does not intend to present evidence in a documentary sense. We have provided the court through the clerk with photographs that we would like to use during the course of our sentencing argument.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
But no testimony other than impact statements?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So with that, let's start with then impact statements.
Ms. Jennings will be
So,
introducing the
And my understanding, just so I'm clear, I indicated through the trial court administrator that we need to see if any of the victims wish to have the camera not running and audio only. And my understanding is all of them indicated they are fine with the video. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, very well. Go ahead, Ms. Jennings.
Your Honor, the first, and we're taking these in the order, victim impact statements in the order that the charges were listed in the indictment. The first charge being burglary. So we
We're going to hear from the roommate.
will have Bethany Funka's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily Allant read that statement.
All right, any objection to that?
All right, so these are pre-written
well.
statements. And what they said is they don't have any extra arguments.
Thank
They're
you,
just
Your
reading
Honor.
The victim statements.
I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats. And make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache. So I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still can't for not knowing what had happened, even though I understand. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words.
Mm.
And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory.
Oh. So it's just
That
the
was the
roommate
worst
that
day
made
of
the
my life.
911 call.
And I know it always will be.
This is the roommate that made the 911
While
call.
I was still in shock, trying to
Bethany.
process the fact that my friends were truly gone.
Friend speaking on her
I had
behalf.
been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened. was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people
Well,
who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship.
that's not okay.
Social media made
No.
it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them?
Oh my
For the
God.
longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings, and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was who did the media would try to catch me at any day around my house. And my parents closed all the blinds during the day, so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in or
Wow. This
someone
is,
is here to.
I'm taking notes. I'll
Or-
talk about this. We're having some static interference, but
For a long time, I could barely get, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I would cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me.
Mhm.
Now, I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party, we were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party.
oh, this is hard. Wow.
But she was also the kindest and funniest person I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loved her because she made everyone feel so loved. She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day watching movies and snacking. Or when she, Maddie, and I would go and get margaritas, chips, and salsa. She would also light up a room with her presence alone. Kaylee had the most beautiful, radiant smile, and she was so kind, but also one of the funniest people I've ever known. She loved playing little pranks, and she always had us laughing so hard that we could not breathe. She was so full of energy and life. I really believe that she could have ruled the world if she wanted to, and she would have been America's sweetheart. Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included, and above all, loved and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I'm beyond grateful that she chose me to be her sorority little, and I thank God every day that I not only got to know her, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time. And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind, and they will be in our hearts forever and always.
Thank you. And please convey to Bethany my appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Next is Dylan Mortensen. We're asking for some accommodations for Ms. Mortensen and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Sure.
All right. Let's just pause this really quick. Okay, so this is Dylan. This is the other roommate. We just
Dylan,
heard
just take
from
your time, all right?
Bethany. Her friend spoke. They're making accommodations to let Dylan sit down. I'm going to put captions down here with my notes. So let me just, that way I don't distract them.
Good idea.
His testimony, yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, four beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried it into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell him that I love him and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations. and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who love them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world, them from me, my friends. To trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive?
I'm
He may
not
have
a
shattered parts
therapist,
of me,
but it sounds like just
but I'm still putting myself back together.
PTSD, anxiety.
Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them.
I'm gonna change.
I got
this
to say
victim.
goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my fear. He took their lives, make them proud.
So the stream is a little bit
speaking today.
glitchy. Back to the stream.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Now we're seeing Dylan. She's a victim. She was one of the roommates, victim of the burglary, and We're seeing her statement.
we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Jillian, thank you so much for your courage. I
Wow.
appreciate it.
Oh,
I can't
was in-
imagine how hard
Yeah.
that was.
I was in tears in part of it. Oh my gosh.
Same. Here, I'm just going to stop this share for a minute. And we can kind of talk while we're waiting to go back to the next. All right. They're going on to the second crime. We're going to Madison Mogan, Scott Laramie. Wow, this is, I don't want to interrupt the statements, but we're seeing the impact of this crime, how it's affecting the people that were there that day, living in fear. And I'm sure it's not just the roommates. The friends probably have this same fear. Anyone who knew them, anybody on campus, really.
It's
Go back and
heart-wrenching.
share.
Heart-wrenching.
This is the husband. This is Maddie's stepfather. Let's go to the court.
Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. The experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring about the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She excelled in school. She was an easy child to raise, almost never requiring discipline, and almost always giving us parental joy. One time Karen remembers disciplining Maddie as a little girl. Maddie responded, "You broke my heart," which of course melted ours. She had a keen wit, even at that young age. As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers. She showered us with her presence and love at family events, barbecues, picnics, birthdays, holidays, and others. She spent countless hours with her papa, her uncle David, Aunt Nadine, and her other close family and friends. This world was a better place with her in it. As she reached adulthood, Maddie applied her studies to be a marketing professional, entering into an internship at Payne West, and started planning her professional future. As with all things, she involved Karen and myself in the joy of her journey. As she transitioned into womanhood, Karen and I continued to be astounded at this wonderful and accomplished person we had created. All parents dream of their children accomplishing more than them. We realized this dream, all we had not become, she was becoming. Karen and I are ordinary people, but we lived extraordinary lives because we had Maddie. Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. She was taken along with the young, promising, and bright lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation. Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. But the vast emotional wound will never fully heal. Since Maddie's loss, there's emptiness in our hearts, home, and family, an endless void. After losing your mother in a car crash, Karen took years to grieve and recover. The feeling that her life with Maddie and they was perfect helped her to start to heal. Now, this is no
I
longer
think this
perfect.
is her mother behind Scott.
After Maddie's loss, Karen felt like she was spinning out emotionally collapsing into anxiety and depression. She sometimes asks, how am I supposed to go on when I've lost my favorite person in the world?
No.
I felt the same, and we continue to struggle.
I think she was an
The loss
only
of Maddie
child.
has impacted so many beyond our family. Her second family is her sorority sisters who grieve alongside us.
Mm.
She has so many close friends who suffer from her loss. We will continue to be.
Oh my God.
Her loss will continue to be felt by the Vandal community, including Vandal Solutions on campus, where she volunteered her time for others.
That's their mascot.
It helps us to know
University of
Maddie
Idaho
is in
Vandal.
heaven now,
Mm.
freed from the trials of this earth. We, however, continue to live on without the grace and support of her presence. We will grow old without our only child, our bright,
Mm.
beautiful friend and daughter. In the end, there are no words that can accurately capture the devastation of losing Maddie. We will endure and we will go on. For Maddie, we will not let our grief consume us. For Maddie, we will continue to love and care for our family and friends, including the families of Kaylee, Santa, and Ethan. We will remain united with them. We can only hope that others out there suffering similar losses can look to us and see that we can overcome hatred, darkness, and evil. We know the law allows us to comment on the defendant and his sentence. As for his sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness. Evil has many faces, and we now know this, but evil does not deserve our time and attention.
Well
We are
said.
done being victims.
Mm-hmm.
We are taking back our lives. We will turn our time, talents, and attention to hope, healing, and helping others, and to the future. We invite all those who have suffered with us on this to join us in our journey. We can make this world a better place. We can move on from tragedy. Adversity will visit us, evil will visit us, but we will overcome. We can and will endure. Karen and I express our gratitude to Your Honor and to the prosecution team for allowing us the opportunity to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your courage, and I am so sorry for your loss. God bless
Your
you.
Honor.
Yeah, this is tough. We just heard from Maddie's stepfather. Her mother was standing behind him. He said, "We'll grow old without our only child." They didn't have any words for Brian Kohberger. They're not going to waste their time on him. And it reminded me a lot of the parents of Gabby Petito. They want to make the world a better place. They want to support other people who have gone through their child being murdered. Now let's go back. Go back to the court. Pro bono counsel for Karen and Scott Laramie, asking to read the statement into letter.
And his unending love and support during this dark time. While words are inadequate to capture the impact of this horrific crime on our family, he expressed it as
I
best
wonder why he
anyone
announced
could.
that he was pro bono.
For Maddie's sake, I will add my supplement statement that incorporates additional impact in the context of my extended family. I am grateful to Maddie's great uncle, Brian Caulfield, for assisting me with the difficult task of putting our pain into words. For me and my extended family, Maddie was our hope and our light. Her beauty, both outside and in, shone its light upon everyone with whom she came in contact. Her beauty, she carried that hope and light into the future for our entire family. We have memories of our Maddie and grief and pain at her being taken from our presence. Any one of us would have given our own light to have been outshone by hers. We now look to our Creator to know that her light continues where we look to see her in His presence. Those who commit evil for their own twisted gains and purposes truly defile the efforts and sacrifices of mothers, fathers, families, teachers, clergy, public servants, service members, and all those who commit themselves to the greater good, freedoms, and the future light of our nation. Condemnation falls heavily upon those who squandered the lives of our future hopes and dreams. Some may offer forgiveness for what the defendant has done. However, we cannot at this time, or perhaps ever, nor will we ask for mercy for what he has done. His acts are too heinous. The agony and grief he has caused, too great. But we will waste no further words or thoughts on him. For Maddie's sake, we will move on. We will do our best to carry Maddie's light into this world and make it a better place. I thank the court and the prosecution for allowing me the opportunity to make my statement. And I thank all those who have and will support my family and the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Laramie. Appreciate it.
So we're hearing from Maddie's family. We're hearing victim impact statements regarding her murder. What we're hearing is that they're not going to waste words on Brian Kohberger. They don't have time for that. And they want to continue to shine Maddie's light throughout the world. They want to make the world a better place. But we're going to go ahead. The grandmother of Maddie is next. Let me go ahead and share. Okay, so we're going to hear from Maddie's grandmother now. And I'm just going to...
My name is
put the
Kim
notes up on the
Cheely.
screen.
I was Maddie Mogan's paternal grandmother, as Ben Mogan, her father, is my son. I'm here today with my sister Lori Cheely, Maddie's great aunt, and my son Ben Mogan, and my daughter-in-law Corey Hatrock. I'd like to begin by thanking a number of people involved in bringing this case to closure. In my daughter's words, the plea deal the prosecution team reached this month is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these kids the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial the years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. My family and I are so grateful to Bill Thompson and his prosecution team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. Moscow Police Department, the
So far, it seems like Maddie's family is supporting the plea.
families of the victims with such dignity and who have honored
This
the
is a little
4 victims
slushy.
beautifully. Maddie was my first grandchild, so when she was born, all her grandparents had the distinct pleasure of deciding what we'd like to be called. I chose Nana, pretty original. But when Maddie was about a year and a half old, her papa, Ben's dad, and I were planning to visit the new little family in Oregon. Maddie didn't have an extensive vocabulary at the time, but for some unknown reason, she called bananas ba deedle deedles. When Karen and Ben told her Nana was coming to visit, she figured I say deedle deedle for that word. So I became Deedle Deedle, shortened to Deedle. She was about 6 or 7, and I was Deedle all her life. I don't think her stepdad, Scotty, ever knew my given name was Kim. Maddie's and my birthdays were one day apart, and a couple years before she was killed, she gave me this necklace with Deedle and Maddie engraved on it. And I added an angel wing, and it's one of my treasured possessions.
Oh,
I also got an angel wing tattoo. Never thought I'd see the day, but along with many members of our family, replicating the one that Maddie and her
Why didn't I grab
sorority
a box of
sisters had.
tissues?
I know,
I wanted
right?
mine where I could see and touch it often. From preschool through grade school, I stopped teaching piano lessons early on Wednesdays and picked Maddie up for bubble baths, brownies, and books. It was our special time together. And she went home those nights in her jammies with a pan of warm brownies for her family. Although Karen and Scotty raised Maddie and did such a lovely job of parenting, we Mogans were lucky to have her for holidays and many other family gatherings. We'll always have our treasured memories of Maddie growing up in our big, extended, cooperative family. And I thank Karen and Scotty Laramie for being so generous and open and sharing Maddie with her Mogan side of the family. When the 4 kids were murdered, the foundation fell out of our world. Initially, the fear was truly debilitating. The first 6 weeks were excruciating. Despite the vigils, memorials, candlelight gatherings of students, friends, family, community members. After the arrest, in the past 2.5 years, my family has lived with grief, with the effects of traumatic grief, of which I was blissfully unaware before all of this. I now have a stack of books on grief. I've attended grief classes at hospice. I've tried EMDR, a technique that helps replace disturbing visions with something more comforting. My son Ben, his 2 sisters, Maddie's aunts, and I have all experienced depression and anxiety disturbance, requiring medical intervention at times. We've all sought counseling off and on. The struggle with media attention was extremely difficult, especially for Ben. No one should live through the violent murder of one's child. Some days it's beyond me how the parents of these kids are still upright. I'm thankful for the strong families and communities that are supporting the survivors. At the time, I could think of only 2 blessings surrounding the horrific murders. One was that Ben was living with my partner Tom and me at the time, and that we could support each other emotionally through it all. Sadly, Tom died a year ago of a rare brain cancer, and he won't be here to see justice served. He was our family's rock, and we all miss him every day. A second blessing is that my mother died of COVID several months before the kids were killed, and she didn't have to live through the horror. It was difficult to identify blessings. So we've all lost our dear child and a future with her. I ache for the loss of the dreams that she and her true love, Jake, held. And my heart goes out to Karen and Scotty and your side of Maddie's family. You've had more than your share of loss. My heart aches for the kids' roommates and the families of the other victims, and also the family of the perpetrator.
Okay, I can't. I don't think I can say anything. That was really
Going forward, we Mogans are choosing to put our energy and focus into honoring Maddie's too short life and sweet spirit by celebrating Maddie May Day, which my two daughters established.
Mm.
On May 25th each year, Maddie's birthday, we encourage folks to do random acts of kindness in Maddie's name. In my daughter Katie's words, may we all protect our peace in whatever way possible, unite in community, and focus on joy. Please do an act in kindness in Maddie's honor during this week, so a glimmer of Maddie's light may live on. Thank you.
Thank you, and appreciate your courage, and bless you and your family.
Thank you.
okay. We just heard from Maddie's paternal grandfather.
Mother.
Maddie's paternal grandmother, they called her Beetle. She says that on May 25th, Maddie's birthday, they want that to be Maddie May Day. She would like everybody to do something kind in honor of Maddie. Now, at this point, I'm going to have to pause my live or stop it and go live again. I have a meeting here in 10 minutes, but I will be back probably within a half hour. I'm sorry to cut the stream short. Let me see if I can keep streaming so you guys can see the court and I can just leave I can do that. I'm just going to leave the stream, put my camera off and turn myself on mute, but I will keep the court hearing streaming. We'll be back. So here's the court.
Everybody.
I'm going to make this phone call and I will be back.
Maddie was my only child that I ever had. She's the only great thing I ever really did, and the only thing I was really ever proud of. And I thought we would have the rest of our lives together to be together and to know each other, and I took for granted the times, she was in college, and I thought, oh, well, we'll have the rest of our lives to just do all the stuff that we're supposed to do, and for college and
I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock,
All right.
they
My
worked
meeting's at
in
12:30.
an
I'm
investigation
back.
and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. None of us are divided. We are united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today, you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Looking back when the police officers knocked on my door, told me what happened to my child, told me what happened to Maddie Mae, I don't think he was even out of the driveway before my kids turned around, looked at me and said, what do we do, Dad? I told them, you get to work. You get your ass to work. And we started calling, we started texting, we started emailing. And you know what? Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes, they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke. But we took this disaster and we did what we could. We put everything online. We took our kids, we took our images, we took everything that they did, their videos, their photos, the girls' pranks, Ethan singing. We put it out there, we shared it with the world. And the world united. And all they ended up, when they talked about this case, is they talked about Kaylee Jade, Maddie Mae, Xana, and Ethan. Everything what these people meant to us, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, we shared that with our community. Then we shared it with our state. We shared it with the country, and eventually we shared it with the world. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we've all started. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to Penn. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with, God bless all the men and women that worked on this case and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all. God bless.
Thank you.
That was Maddie's father.
Your Honor, next is Stephen Gonzalez, Kaylee's brother.
Stephen's actually gonna pass. I'm gonna go.
Okay. Olivia Gonzalez, Kaylee's sister.
Hello, I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of Kaylee Gonzalez, and I was
We know
blessed to
she's
love
not gonna
Madison
talk
Mogan as
about
a sister too.
Brian.
I'm not here today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be. Loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about Kaylee and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. I'm left shouting at the inside of my own head everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them, and not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And Kaylee and Maddie don't need it. Kaylee and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the bear.
So this is Kaylee's sister.
On November 30th, 2022.
She just asked what the second weapon is that she used yet because of the gag order.
Going back to Moscow.
Apparently, there was evidence of a second weapon.
After stalking them there for months.
I caught that too.
If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. Constantly scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this.
We had a little bit of lag here in the feed, but wow, Olivia is tearing him up. Get him, Olivia.
You work so hard.
She's so articulate with it.
The scariest
She
part
is.
about you is how
Well
painfully
spoken.
average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
just wanna
Stupid,
be like,
clumsy,
"Ooh."
slow, sloppy, weak, dirty.
Get him, Olivia.
Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass. Thank you.
Thank you. If you wouldn't have, yeah. Go, Olivia.
Bravo. That was
Great job,
awesome.
Olivia.
She hit him where it hurt.
If you wouldn't have attacked them in their sleep, Kaylee would have beat your ass. That's interesting. We heard about a second weapon we have not heard about because of the gag orders. And
Next is Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's mother.
all right. So we are hearing from the Gonzalez family. This is the victim impact statements. We've heard from Maddie's family, We've heard from the burglary victims. They're going in order of the indictment. And I have a meeting at 12:30, so I will jump off real quick to make a phone call at that point, but I'll keep the live stream going. For now, I'm just going to put notes up on the screen as not to interrupt
Thank
the
you.
victim impact statements.
I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee J. Gonzalez, you didn't just take her life, you shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, the way I view the world, people, safety, trust. It's all been changed by your cruelty. I no longer recognize parts of myself. Joy is harder to find. Laughter feels foreign. The world moves forward, but I'm suspended in a place of sorrow and rage. You've taken from me something that can never be restored. The grief sits with me every day, some days quietly, and other days so loud it drowns out everything else. The emotional toll you've inflicted on me is immeasurable. I live with a constant ache, with birthdays that are now memorials, with holidays that feel hollow, with empty chairs that scream louder than words ever could. I am forever changed. But for you, as a person working on a PhD in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction, all because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a jester hat to complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. Just probably not how you were expecting it. See, you haven't beat the system. You've seen
Kaylee's mother. Kaylee's family just taking it for what he is, letting him know he's not important.
You will always be
Basically gum on with their shoes.
as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting. Quick message from our youngest daughter. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
Oh, oh, God.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. That's their youngest daughter. You may have received A's in college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
Do we have more from the Gonzalez family, or are you?
Yes. Next
really
would be
like
Shannon
these
Gray,
family.
the
I
Gonzalez.
did too.
Will be reading
Even with
statements
Maddie,
from
they were
Kaylee Gonzalez's grandmothers.
talking about chips and salsa and margaritas and watching trash TV.
Morning, Your Honor. Shannon Gray, the attorney for the Gonzalez family. I actually have 3 statements, one from her aunt and 2 from her grandparents. This is from her aunt, Tammy Butts. You, in the cloak of darkness, made a decision to turn our whole family's world upside down forever. You in the cloak of darkness took our Kaylee J. Gonzalez away from us all without hesitation. Never have you shown any remorse or regret. We just get creepy, non-expressive stares as you have your team of women defend you.
Oh.
Kaylee was a strong, kind, fun-loving, caring person, and she will greatly be missed by all her family and friends for the rest of our lives. She had goals in life that you took from her and us. We lose on watching her enjoying her life, working hard and building the future she wanted. She was ready to start that after college life. You in the cloak of darkness took it all away. You left us without her future wedding, her future children that she would have added to our family. No more talking to her on the phone, going for a coffee, celebrating holidays. It's all gone. You in the cloak of darkness gave each and every one of Kaylee's family members their own lifetime sentence. You in the cloak of darkness also took our Maddie Mae from all of us. She was so genuine, caring, polite. She was part of our family. You came in, harmed our children that were younger women than you in their own beds. You're nothing, you're a coward. It's not right that you have received life. I pray that you meet your end in the cloak of darkness, burn in hell. I have two other statements, Your Honor.
So we're hearing statements from Maddie's grandparents. That was Kaylee's grandparents. The first was from her grandmother. She said, burn in hell.
This is Linda Lucan's statement. This is Kaylee's grandmother. I really don't know how to address something so inhumane, but I will try. Nothing in the past 2.5 years has made any sense. All I get is you cowardly went into a home at night, filled with what I'm sure you thought was all sleeping girls, and went on a vicious killing spree for no other reason but to appease your demonic urges. You took my granddaughter Kaylee from us, plus 3 other beautiful lives. You took my granddaughter Kaylee, beautiful, sweet-souled, doll-faced Kaylee, who was getting ready to start her amazing life, who had such a bright future, who was loved by so many, who you were so envious of. She had a life you could never have. You are so beyond human. You're definitely a demon from hell. I truly wish your punishment would be the same death you inflicted on our kids. But I think you will meet some new friends in prison who will be there just to help you. Thumbs up.
So we are hearing statements from
I have one last statement, Your Honor.
grandparents.
This is from Cheryl Gonzalez, Kaylee's other grandmother. John 1:5 says, light shines in the darkness, and the darkness overcomes it not. Somewhere in your life, some jealousy, envy, ego, something went dark. It pushed out all light until you became dark and evil. And when you saw my granddaughter and her friends, their light, because they have such a light, you couldn't stand it. Because the darkness in you could not stand the light in them. And so you decided to destroy it. Cowardly, you walked into their rooms in the dark and took their lives, hoping to get rid of your darkness. But you didn't. You failed. Because you know what was once a light shown only to their friends, families, and loved ones is now all over the world. Everyone sees it. Their smile, their beauty, their plans, everything they were and had. And you think you put a close to it, even that, but you didn't. Because they still exist. They are still light. They are still beautiful. You can never take that away. They will always be in the light of all eternity. And you will be in the darkness because you could not overcome it. You failed. I want you to be gone, more than gone. I want you to be cast out. Cast out from my life, from my family, from this earth. I will not allow your hatred to penetrate into my own soul. You did not get that power. You are evil, and in the end, evil is eradicated. You didn't take Kaylee's light, you spread it into the world. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. If the are you moving to a different family now? All right, why don't we take a 10-minute recess? All right.
Okay. Court is taking a 10-minute recess. Oh, wow, perfect timing because we're about to take a recess as well. I've got a phone call I have to make at 12:30. But what we'll do is we'll keep the live stream going if I'm able to. This is really the first time we have done a live stream using this platform. It's only like our third live stream ever, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So far, what we're doing is we're hearing the victim impact statements for the Brian Kohberger sentencing. At the beginning of the hearing, the parties, they didn't have any statements or anything to provide for the sentencing. They didn't have any additional argument. Everybody agrees this is going to be consecutive life sentences plus a term of 10 years for the burglary. And then the 4 consecutive life sentences means they're served back to back. First, we heard from Bethany and Dylan. So we're hearing victim impact statements, and you're going to see how these crimes have not only victimized those who lost their lives and those who were at the house with the burglary, but the family members. You can imagine their friends, even other students at the university are probably feeling something similar. I know that I once was out in my 20s and this guy, he went missing. And even now, when I go out in public, this was 20 years ago, I still am like looking over my shoulder. You don't trust the world the same when something like that happens. So yeah, and you're seeing this. So basically what we've done so far is we've gone through the indictment and we're looking at the victim impact statements for each of the crimes. The first crime that we have listed on the indictment was the burglary. So burglary, I've heard some people say, oh, well, he didn't steal something, did he? That's not what burglary means. It's a common misconception. The crime of burglary, it is breaking and entering into somebody's residence with the intent to commit a felony therein. So that felony, sometimes it's stealing. That's where the confusion probably comes in. In this case, it was murder. So you have the burglary, and the victims here were Bethany and Dylan. These are the 2 roommates. Bethany spoke through an advocate. She had a friend go up and speak on her behalf and read a statement. Dylan, she took a seat at the prosecutor's table. They made special accommodations for her. I can't imagine standing during this or the fear they must have facing this person that was right there in their home with them. It's unimaginable. It really is. But one thing that you're seeing with Bethany and Dylan, they both, and I'm not a mental health professional. I wish my neighbor was home. My next door neighbor, she is a therapist. And I told her I was going to grab her on the podcast. Maybe we'll do that at some point. But I would think that it sounds like PTSD to me, just from people I know that have suffered with it. And I'm not here to diagnose or anything, but they're reliving this trauma. They are having anxiety attacks. They are locking their doors at night. They're having trouble sleeping. It's been 2.5 years and it's still haunting them. They addressed the hate that they received on social media, the people questioning whether or not it was them. That's not acceptable. These are victims. People are innocent until proven guilty, including the roommates. The police never saw any evidence to indicate them, and you need a very low burden to bring charges. Preponderance of the evidence. I'm sorry. Gosh, my mind is, you're right. It is so Monday right now, Dee.
Yes.
not preponderance of the evidence. Anyway, my mind will figure it out in a minute. But it's a very low standard, just that somebody may have committed a crime. For social media to go off on this without any real evidence, it's just hurtful in so many ways. And it reminds me a lot of what my friend went through that is one of our co-hosts. She pops on and off, Liz. She was on a reality TV show, and the social media, I mean, it that alone traumatized her. I can't imagine having lived through this experience and then having people attack you on social media. I really feel for Bethany and Dylan. I think it was extremely, extremely brave for Dylan to get up there. I think it was brave for Bethany to even give a statement. I can't, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what they're going through. They're
No.
victims in this as well. We heard from Maddie's family. They really focused on Maddie. We saw Maddie's light. We saw the beauty within her. We saw her family just memorializing her and what an amazing person she was, and how she was studying marketing, and we just heard about what a light she was. That was a repeated theme, was the light that Maddie gave the world, and how Brian Kohberger did not take that away. They mentioned several times that they support the state's plea. They thank the state for all of their work and getting this arranged. Her grandmother even said, this way we don't have to go through the trial and the appeals. And they said it's not worth addressing BK. It's not worth talking to him. They're not going to even waste their time on him, and they didn't. They also said that on Maddie's birthday, that's May 25th, they want that to be Maddie May Day. Everybody do an act of kindness. And they asked us also today to go ahead and do an act of kindness for Maddie. And I think that's a beautiful way to memorialize her. It really reminded me of Gabby Petito's family, how they want to make a difference in the world. They want to continue to have Maddie's light shine on the world and help people through difficult situations. Now, Kaylee, we just finished hearing from her family. They had more of an angry tone, which is completely understandable. And they received standing ovations. They went on the attack with Brian Kohberger. They told him how pathetic he is to go and attack sleeping women, how he's not as smart as he thinks he is, that they had him figured out. They had security camera footage very quickly. All right. And I just noticed it is 12:31. So I've got to go make a phone call. I apologize. We will be back. The court will be back. I'm going to try to leave this live stream on, and I will see you guys soon. Let me make this call real quick. All right, channel surfers, hang tight. See if I can leave the live feed on.
Be seated. All right, Ms. Jennings.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next family is the family of Xana Kernodle. And first would be Jasmine Kernodle, Xana's sister.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in this and just for all the hard work and dedication you guys have put into this. I also want to thank everyone for the support and just my family and friends who've been around through this time. I went back and forth on whether to speak today because the truth is you don't deserve power over my feelings, my words, or me. Thank you. In the end, I realized this moment isn't about you. It's about justice for Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie. It's about honoring the beautiful people they were and still are in God's eyes. On November 13th, 2022, a piece of my heart was ripped away. There's no way to ever fully describe the weight of losing my sister, my best friend. No sentence or punishment will ever come close to the justice Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie deserve. Xana was everyone's best friend. She was kind, she was funny. She was a gift to each person she was able to make an impact on. Xana was someone I turned to when I needed direction or advice. Although I am her older sister, I often found myself looking up to her. She had a radiant energy that everyone loved, and she always knew the right way to approach a problem. She knew how precious and special life was, and she truly did live every day to the fullest. Yet her story was cut short by an act of evil. I believe in a God whose justice is not bound by this courtroom. I find peace knowing that judgment ultimately belongs to Him. For your sake, I hope one day you feel the full weight of what you did. I hope you take accountability. I hope you truly experience the guilt and you surrender yourself to Jesus Christ. Because no punishment on this earth can ever compare to the isolation and pain of eternal separation from God. Xana deserved more. They all did. But I come here to say this. I am strong. I am brave. I'm a fighter, just like Xana. And you don't get to control how I move forward or what I believe. I walk with the comfort of knowing I will see my sister again. Xana didn't get the future she deserved. She won't be the maid of honor at my wedding, the cool aunt to my future children. I'll never hear her laugh or see her light up a room ever again. But I will carry her with me for the rest of my life. I will live in her honor, fight to be the best kind of woman and someone she's proud of, to make sure the world never forgets who she was. Xana's story doesn't end with what was taken from her. It lives through the love she gave, the people she touched, and the legacy our family will protect. Her light still shines, and her voice will echo louder than this pain. You didn't take that from us, and you never will.
Thank you.
I just want to say before I start, I'm Xana's dad, Jeff Kernodle. It's been a hard road down, because she's gone. And I want to thank everybody, other their families that's speaking so far, spoke about things. I agree with everything they have to say. It all comes back to a lot of the same things that I've had to deal with and we as a family have had to deal with. And that brings me basis of what I'm talking about a little bit is on my way up here, flying up here in the plane, and about halfway through the flight, this little girl is calling out for her dad. Hey, dad, dad, dad. And then in my mind, I was kind of half asleep. It's dark on the plane. I heard Xana calling out for me like she did, back when she was little, 5 years old. And those times were hard. It was chaotic, but we always had something to work toward that was in a positive direction, compared to right now, which is necessarily not as positive as that for sure. And I know I miss Xana a lot. My life's been changed, and Xana had a great impact on me. And the impact was when she was gone, I realized how important she was and what she really did for me, influenced me, was way beyond what I ever thought. She'd call me up on the weekends, check on me, see who's with me. She's like accountability to your youngest daughter. And that really made a big difference. It made me really think about things and what it's all about, That's the things that I miss the most is those calls on the weekends, the calls at 11 at night. Oh, what's going on? You want to meet my friend? The impact on other people, her family, but the impact that she made is so extensive on what happened here. And it goes so far. People from everywhere in the world, are following things, and Xana has made a difference in their lives. So, countless people told me that they might not even know her. They never knew anything about her. It's what they see, and they just love her and say how they wish that she could have been their friend. Could have been their friend, could have hung out, and it's like this is a blessing. This is the little kid was, and definitely was a big blessing in my life, and so is Jasmine, and basically, we worked hard to do the things we did. Through the times that we were growing up, and through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college, and that'd be the ultimate thing for them to do to prepare for the world. Then it came back to me. Xana didn't get to finish college. He had it all figured out. And this all just came back to me when I was there, and that little girl was on the plane doing that. It's like where I was going, what I was going here for. And then I just realized and thought to myself about the wonderful life that she had and we had together. And I still get to have with Jasmine, but that's the part that really counted. It's the part that really counted is those memories. And those are what I have left, the memories with her and the ones I can make with her and the life that I can go on with now, which is what she wants. And I say that in present tense because that's what she wants, because I've been told that, I've been countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate, which I'm very grateful for. That goes to say that the impact of what happened to them, all 4 kids, goes so much further than just not me, the parents, the families, the community. It goes so far because a lot of kids, in the colleges, just for an example, they lock their doors now. The door wasn't locked in the back. Penn State or wherever it was, all the colleges, I know that I've heard they all lock their doors now. So maybe the impact that it's going to make is going to help out and maybe protect some people. Having this outreach and having the influence of what these kids, what happened to these kids did, all I know is I was 7 miles away when it happened, and she wasn't feeling that good. It was 11:30, and I almost went over to Susanna's to say, and I would have been sitting right there in that couch, and you had to deal with me. So they would have had a chance, and I regret that, and I regret not going. But the reason why I didn't is because Susanna said, "Don't be drinking and driving. You got the rental car. Don't be drinking and driving." The week before that, so she was she would have been mad at me to do that. But I really wish I would have drunk and drove, because they would have had a chance, all four of them. At this point, I just have to go on. We're gonna go on with everything and make things better in my life, because that's what it's all about. If I have closure in things, and the part that we miss is Santa, her influence, her smile, the things that she did, and we have the memories left, the great memories, and she just wants us to make more memories and not be sad or upset or shocked or taken for that, and that's what we're gonna do. We just have to. That's all I got.
Thank you for your words and your courage, and bless your family.
Next, Kim Kernodle would like to address the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Kim Kernodle. I am Xana's aunt. I was very blessed to have her in my life and our family. And I thought I had everything in my head, what I wanted to say, but it kind of went out. And I'm always looking for the positive thing, because evil, hate can destroy people. And that's what it started doing. She was that fun, loving, high-spirited, beautiful person. And I no longer get to get my nails done with her, have lunch with her. Sorry. But how I look at it now is this tragedy, this horrible tragedy on all of the 4 children, has brought us closer. You united us with your actions. We're united now, and we're stronger than ever. We have family and friends now that we never knew we had. And, this is probably going to bother everybody, but Brian, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you, because I no longer could live with that hate in my heart. And for me to become a better person, I have forgiven you. And anytime you want to talk and tell me what happened, get my number. I'm here, no judgment, because I do have answers or questions that I want you to answer. And I'm here. I'll be that one that'll listen to you. Okay? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
My name is Stratton Kernodle, and I'm Xana's uncle, Jeff's brother. Sitting here today, listening to all the stories and feelings and feeling the pain from everybody is a pretty powerful thing. It's each time a statement was read, it sort of would tug into my center core as I felt everybody's anguish. And Xana meant a lot to us, and we loved her very much. But I started thinking about, instead of rehashing everything that everybody else has talked about, I wanted to direct it another direction toward Brian and what he's done to his family, his parents, his siblings, his
Channel service
friends,
back.
his
We're on Xana's
universe.
family.
He has contaminated, tainted their family name, and pretty much made a horrible, miserable thing to be ever related to him. And I know that that's what he has to live with, and that has to be his pain. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hey, channel surfers, this is Lawyer Lauren. I'm back from my meeting. We're hearing from
Next,
the
Your
family
Honor, I believe
of
Randy
Xana
Davis,
Kernodle.
stepfather to Xana Kernodle, would like to address the court.
I stepped out briefly to make a phone call, and I am back for the remainder of these hearings. We've already heard from the family of Maddie, Kaylee, and we've heard
Hi,
from
my name's
roommates
Randy,
of burglary
stepdad of
victims.
Xana. I just feel the same way we all do. All of us are united because of something that happened. And I am grateful to know and
And I'm
have
gonna put
met
notes
some
up
new
on the
family
screen.
because of this awful event. But this is probably the last time we're all going to be in the same room together. Let's be real. So I can say, I love you all, and I feel your pain. And just God bless us all, you know, just get through it. I had stuff wrote up. It was probably best I didn't read it out. Probably get kicked out of here. So
He said he had stuff written up, but he'd probably get kicked out if he read it. And we've got to step in court.
Jazzy and Xana had taken our son Elijah, put him in a dress, makeup, and it was awful.
I used to do that to my
you
brother.
know? I don't know. She was funny. I told her she'd be in the movies and be somebody great one day like that. And now she is just above us as an angel with all the other beautiful kids. So let's hold that to our hearts, because this evil thing is not going to take nothing from us. You, man, I don't know what my limits are here, but I'm really struggling, dude.
Go for it.
I am struggling. So I want to just be out in the woods with you, just so I can teach you about loss and pain. I love God. I wouldn't take your life. That's up to him. But I guarantee you, you are weak. God, I would just give a moment, man, 5 minutes out in the woods. Oh man, Ooh. You're going to go to hell. I know people believe in other stuff. You're evil. There's no place for you in heaven. You took our children. You are going to suffer, man. I'm shaking because I want to reach out to you, but I hope you feel my energy, okay? Go to hell.
Wow.
Nicely said. Nicely said. I mean, yeah, he could have said a lot
Next
worse.
is Kara Northington, Xana's mother.
Definitely deserves a lot worse. I wonder what he had written up.
I know. I mean, we've heard some pretty explicit stuff, so.
All right, so we're hearing.
I'm Kara Northington. I am Xana Kernodle's mother.
Xana's family.
This letter is to you, really. But it is for my daughter, who was murdered by you. Today I stand before you, the man who is responsible for murdering my beautiful daughter, Xana Kernodle. My daughter was beautiful both inside and out. She possessed love for those around her and had a light so bright it will live on forever in our hearts. She brought joy and laughter to her friends, her family, and anyone in her presence. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, now has her in his loving arms in heaven, where she can never be harmed ever again for eternity. Because of her, I came to know my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Because of her, many will come to Christ. It is Christ who lives in me that has given me the strength to forgive you. It was of no power of my own. In return, the Lord has filled me with joy, hope, and peace that surpasses all understanding. Jesus has allowed me to forgive you for murdering my daughter without you even being sorry or asking for this. This is only possible because he who lives in me is greater than any evil in this world. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. I do not fear you or even let you rent space in my head anymore. This forgiveness has released me from any and all evil you have inflicted on me and my family. It has allowed me to let our Lord deal with you. You have accepted a deal that will prevent you from receiving the death penalty. Nothing man can do to you can ever compare to the wrath of God. Inevitably, you will stand before our Lord and will have to answer to him over the sins you have committed in murdering our children. I pray you come to the end of yourself before that day. Whether you like it or not, heaven is for real and so is hell. The innocent life of Xana that you stole from myself and my family, and the destruction it has caused. I am washing my hands of you and turning you over to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, whom vengeance belongs to. In closing, I want to read a passage from the Bible, Ephesians 6, King James Version. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and then in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, that ye may be able to stand in the evil day.
This is Xana's mother giving her victim impact statement.
I'm not going to share memories of Xana or any more of the goodness of her with you, because I do not want that to be in your head. I don't want it to be in your head. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve our good memories that we have. I do pray for you. I pray that you come to the end of yourself. I pray that before this life is over, that you ask our Lord and Savior in your heart and to forgive you. I do pray for that. But after today, I wash my hands of you, and you are no longer a thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Xana's mom. Said that Jesus allowed her to forgive
I don't believe the state has any other
BK for
victim
murdering
impact
her daughter.
Okay.
Which we saw that same sentiment from, I believe it was Maddie's grandmother.
Right. Stake and argue.
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dee, did they?
Just as a
Do
housekeeping
Ethan-
matter, start,
I'm not
there will be
sure. I
the
don't
issue of
think so.
restitution. That
We
is,
took a
the
break.
documentation is
They
being
may have
gathered,
just
and
said
we
that
ask the
Ethan's
court
family
would
wasn't going
defer
to speak.
that for 30 days so we can present it in an orderly fashion and make sure it's comprehensive for everyone.
Okay. We're getting a little bit of lag
Thank
on
you, Your
the
Honor.
live feed. They might be talking about the writing the order out.
I think it's necessary and appropriate for everyone here, including the court, the background that brings us in front of Your Honor today for these proceedings.
They're gonna give us some
As
background.
the record reflects, and as everybody in this courtroom knows, the defendant has pleaded guilty to all 5 counts
Wonder if they're going to
charged
recite
in
facts
the
again
indictment.
like they did in the initial.
Under oath before Your Honor, he has admitted that the charges against him are true. He has reassured the court that he has not been coerced or threatened to make those admissions. And Your Honor did an extraordinary job in taking the pleas back
It looks
on
like
July
he just
2nd. We
agreed.
appreciate
Like
the court's
Brian
discipline
Chicka said
and
yes.
insight. The defendant has also waived appeal on the multitude of rulings from this court and Your Honor's predecessor in Latah County.
So he's waived appeal. That
On
doesn't mean he
dozens,
can't file it.
literally
It just means it will
dozens
be
of
rejected. We
motions
saw the same
seeking
thing happen in Murdoch
dismiss the
case
case,
here locally.
seeking to control or limit evidence,
In Murdoch, he's an
seeking to
attorney.
offer
They're like,
evidence
you understood
that
what
would
you
not
mean
be
when you waived
appropriate.
appeal. Well, this guy
And we appreciate the court's
PhD in
consistent
criminal
rulings
justice.
based
So
on the law,
I don't think
based on
he's
the
going to say
facts.
he doesn't know what that means.
As Your Honor will recall, on June 18th, just really not that long ago, we appeared
They're gonna
before
go
this
over some of the
court
facts.
for arguments on what became the defendant's final motions to this court. Motion where they wanted to offer evidence suggesting that other people were responsible for the defendant's actions. And the motion seeking essentially an indefinite continuance of the trial. It was readily apparent to all of us in the courtroom from Your Honor's comments that those motions were not going to be granted. So we returned to Moscow and continued with what we had been working on for months in preparation for trial. We had no qualms about going to trial if trial was what was necessary and appropriate. The following week after we were in court, we were approached by the defense with an inquiry about a possible plea. And I can tell the court this is the first suggestion ever that there was any consideration, because indeed the defense had maintained from the beginning that Mr. Kohberger, the defendant, was factually innocent. It's clear that the reality of the evidence and the case that had been investigated and prepared and that we were ready to present in court became a reality. Our reaction, among other things, was to reach out to all of the families. And in fact, later that week, on Thursday and Friday of that last week of June, we met with representatives by teams, virtual meetings, with representatives of all of the families. And we talked about the status of the case, and the upcoming trial and things that related to the trial. And we also let them know that there had been an inquiry about whether there might be an offer for a plea. And we asked the family members for their thoughts and feelings. And they were candid. And they have been candid since, and we respect that. And we understand, recognize, and acknowledge that there was a difference of opinion among representatives of the different families. We understand that.
We
One of the
see that today
challenges
in
of this
victim
case, one of the
statements.
unique things about it,
Yeah.
we have multiple victims, each unique unto themselves, their families and friends unique unto themselves, and all of them entitled to their opinions, all of them entitled to their thoughts. Over the following weekend, our prosecution team, very skilled attorneys who were personally as well as professionally deeply invested in this case, met. And we talked, and the decision was reached. Well, to start with, were there to be any sort of plea offer or discussion, there's only one possibility. And that would be for the defendant to plead guilty straight up to all charges. There would be no bargaining about counts. There would be no bargaining about reduced sentences. And so we made the proposal to the defense that if the defendant was willing to plead guilty up front to all 5 counts as charged and waive appeal of the court's myriad decisions during the past 2.5+ years on all these motions that would have consumed years, if not decades, of time in the future. By the end of the weekend, we were notified the defendant was prepared to plead guilty as charged and factually acknowledge his responsibility in court for these horrible crimes. Obviously, those discussions and negotiations were confidential. And as Your Honor noted, I believe that was necessarily so, because if
Plea discussions are
the
confidential.
defendant had decided not to plead guilty, it would have been devastating to our jury pool for there to be public information that there had been consideration by either party to a plea resolution. Protecting the prospective integrity of a trial
So
after
yeah,
so many
plea
years
negotiations, settlement
was paramount.
negotiations, you can't introduce that as evidence in a trial.
So
rules
the end of the
evidence.
weekend came.
Because like you said, that could
We notified the victims'
people knew
families
about it, and
of
that
what
could
had occurred.
Right.
maybe sway their
Recognize,
vote.
I recognize and acknowledge personally, and I respect the fact
But
that of these
it's
fine,
always the risk with the
suffering
jury.
people here, not
Always.
everybody agreed with the decision we make. I accept that. It's my responsibility in the end. I recognize that that's the duty of the office that I hold.
Like you said, this is, I mean, this could
So
have been
now-
the exact same outcome if they went to trial.
It is time for the judicial system
He could have gotten
to impose
convicted on
final
all
judgment
fronts
and close the
in
door on
life
this chapter of these tragedies.
instead of death.
As the court is aware, by the agreement of the
He could have gotten
parties,
off.
it is the state's
I don't
prayer.
know. It's a risk.
Perhaps have the Elmo police turned on.
But yeah, prosecution is defending their
Thank
plea.
you.
And also acknowledging the hurt
That on count 1,
with the
the
family.
felony burglary, that the court sentenced the defendant to the maximum period of 10 years fixed in the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction. Then on count 2,
We just lost the front feed for Kohberger. Oh, they're switching it to the victims.
that the court sentenced the defendant to fixed life for the murder of Maddie Mogan.
I can't imagine that
count
the
3.
defense isn't feeling this too.
That the court
You get
sentenced the
so close
defendant
to these cases.
to fixed life for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez.
This is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
On count 4,
Would have been a good trial.
I'm saying I turn over. On count 5,
So
that the
prosecution
court
is
sentenced the
asking
defendant
for maximum
fixed life
sentences.
Mm-hmm.
for the murder of Ethan Chapin. And the state further prays that these sentences be ordered to run consecutively, back to back, not at the same time.
Right. So
to
if he
recognize
reincarnates, he's
and
going back to jail,
respect
guys.
the unique
Send him back.
individuality of each of these beautiful young people whose lives were taken brutally and for no
You can hear
reason.
crying in the courtroom. Bless their hearts.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
And hopefully now, as we have heard earlier this morning, it is time to afford the families and the friends and the community in the state of Idaho
Somebody on the floor?
and the nation and the world to move forward. We can't undo, and we can never undo, the horror of what occurred on the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho. For a long time, the presiding district judge in Latah County was John Stegner, who eventually became a member and a justice of the Idaho Supreme Court.
So we're
And
listening
Judge
to the prosecution.
Justice Stegner
Wrap up the hearing.
often
We've heard
observed
from the families, the victim
that
impact
even
statements. I did
God
hear that only
cannot
the immediate
change
family members were going to be able to speak, and that's what it looks like.
But everyone in this room has the ability to take themselves forward. And we want the judicial system to afford them the opportunity today to do that. From today forward, our memories should be focused on these innocent victims whose lives were taken, on their families, on their friends, on the community. The court has heard discussion, talk today, reminiscences today about a special family that our victims shared, not just their natural, legal, and biological families, not just their university families,
It's a family
within
that
their
they never wanted to
sororities,
be.
for example.
This is not a family that anybody wants to have. It's just making the best out of the situation.
But this family,
I thought he was talking about the college students.
this
They were a
is the
family.
picture
Oh,
taken
I thought
on
he was talking
November
about
12th, 2022 of the
their
special family
They came together,
of
kind of like
1122
Xana's
King
stepdad was
Road.
saying.
Yeah.
And you can see all 6 of these dynamic, vibrant, loving, special,
Brian, don't
innocent
look at that
faces
picture. Close your eyes.
taken together just across the street from their residence. And barely 12 hours
Look at the judge.
before 4 of them would be brutally murdered in their sleep. They've been described consistently as being bright,
Can you
caring,
get him a tissue too?
vivacious,
I forgot to get mine too, Judge.
He's been doing it through the impact
with
statements.
futures we can only imagine now.
We all have.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a special family that I think we should all recognize and appreciate. So it's time to move forward. There have been a number of statements directed specifically at the defendant today,
Oh,
I have one last thought.
give it to us.
After Your Honor imposes judgment and sentences the defendant to spend the rest of his life in prison, in other words, sentence the defendant to die in prison.
Yes.
He's going to stand up in the belly chains and the leg irons that he's wearing today. And he's going to be escorted into the custody of the Idaho Department of Correction.
I'll take him off to the side room and throw him in a tank.
And the door
Until it's time to
closed
go back
behind
to jail.
him forever. That is the closure that we seek, that all of these people, these loving friends and family deserve, so that we can move forward. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I mean, this judge has no control over whether or not things come up in
Right,
the
does
future. The
defense
only thing
have
I can
evidence to
imagine that
present
would disrupt this verdict would be if there were Brady violations, if there were things that the state had
Defense,
left out,
wish to make argument today.
that exculpatory statements, things like that. But he's waiving his right to appeal.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, you have an opportunity to make a statement if you wish
I
to. I
don't
take it
believe
you are
you will.
declining.
I respectfully decline.
Wow.
Oh. Interesting.
Please.
Huh.
All right, let me
He's
start
Didn't expect
this
that.
morning
I didn't either.
by acknowledging and thanking those that have come here today in support of their loved ones. And I appreciate your courage and your strength. And I hope that you are able to move on as best as possible.
I hope
Thank
so,
counsel for the professionalism that they've exhibited throughout this case. It's been my great honor to preside in this case.
I would just think new evidence would be the only.
To the extent possible, some
Only thing that might change this.
to this
They really want to focus on
November
the
13,
fact that he admitted
2020.
this to the court.
A
He
faceless
had to
coward
in
breached the
order to-
tranquility of 6 beautiful young people and senselessly slaughtered them. 4 of them. Who committed this unspeakable evil was unknown for several weeks, but due to the killer's incompetence and outstanding police work by numerous local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies,
Oh, he is
the
shooting
person that
death
slithered through
rays
that
at
sliding glass
judge.
door at 1122 King Road now stands before the world and this court unmasked. This unfathomable and senseless act of evil has caused immeasurable pain and loss. No parent
He
should
is
ever have to bury
staring at
their
judge
child.
now.
He didn't like what the
This is
judge
the
said
greatest
about
effect
him.
that can be inflicted upon a person. Parents who took their children to college in a truck filled with moving boxes had to bring them home in hearses lined with coffins.
Oh, man.
The loss this killer inflicted was not just the death of these people's children, siblings, grandchildren, as we've heard today. It has ripped a hole in their soul, destroying a special part of their very essence. Any person who is a parent defines themselves foremost as such. It is their existence and purpose of being. And it has been stolen from these parents. None of us have experienced the loss these victims have in the unspeakable way that they have. And therefore, none of us can, nor should we, question the way in which they have handled their loss. Whether that be in private mourning, removed as far as possible from this media circus, or in front of a camera demanding retribution with the loudest megaphone. I've listened intently to the stories and pain that have been shared today, with great awe at the courage and resilience of the surviving family members of those wonderful children. I've listened also to the surviving roommates, both in person and through their friends. And I can't think of how, frankly, courageous they have been despite the hell that they have faced by uncaring people who have come up with all kinds of crazy theories about two kids simply being kids. The parents, siblings, and other family members who have spoken today are designated as victims in our legal system. But going forward, I hope that they can shed that label, as it gives too much power to the evil that condemned them to that role. They are and should be known as survivors, fighters, and foremost as witnesses to the tremendous lives of value and unbounded promise of these four young people. But those speaking today and those who did not speak, but who carry the same burden, this same loss, now carry forward the memories of these now perpetually young people, these forever children. These survivors carry the responsibility of ensuring that the voices of these children, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, are never forgotten, and the positive impacts that they have had on so many lives are never minimized, and that the love they shared, the light that they shined onto others is forever celebrated. As we sit here today, this case is ending, and we are now certain who committed these unspeakable acts of evil, but we don't know, and what we may never know is why. I share the desire expressed by others to understand the why. But upon reflection, it seems to me, and this is just my own opinion, that by continuing to focus on why, we continue to give Mr. Kohberger relevance. We give him agency and we give him power. The need to know what is inherently not understandable makes us dependent upon the defendant to provide us with a reason, and that gives him the spotlight, the attention, and the power he appears to crave. Yet even if I could force him to speak, which legally I cannot, how could anyone ever be assured that what he speaks is the truth? Do we really believe, after all of this, he's capable of speaking the truth or of giving up something of himself to help the very people whose lives he destroyed? Rather, I suspect the so-called reason would be dished out in enticing, self-serving, and aggrandizing untruthful bits, leaving people wanting more information, more insight, and thus enhancing even further the power he seeks to hold. Even if we could get truthful insight into his why, I suspect it would not in any way quench one's thirst for actually understanding why in the first instance. Because there is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality. No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for the unexplainable, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. It's time that he be consigned to the ignominy and isolation of perpetual incarceration.
Perpetual incarceration.
I know there has been concern about him
like to
collaborating
rephrase
on
that.
books or movies or other media projects, and I truly hope that someone does not stoop to affording him this spotlight that he desires in the name of clicks, royalties, or profits. While criminal behavioralists should study him away from the spotlight in an attempt to prevent other would-be killers from acting on their worst impulses, There should be no need for that to spill over into the public eye. The great Idaho jurist Edward Lodge was known for trying to find something positive about every person he ever sentenced. And with over a half a century as a trial judge, that was a lot of people. This was often challenging, and I recall in one case he said that the best he could come up with was that the defendant had good penmanship. Truth be told, I'm unable to come up with anything redeeming about Mr. Kohberger because his grotesque acts of evil have buried and hidden anything that might have been good or intrinsically human about him.
Wow. He's not speaking.
And therefore, I will not attempt to speak about him further, other than to simply sentence him so that he is forever removed from civilized society. And accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Toohill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogan. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Gonsalves, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, for the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another.
Back to back.
Restitution will be left open for 60 days.
Restitution, that's
will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility and execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you have waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal. And any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment,
That varies
which will
state to
be
state
entered
what that time for appeal is.
shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire. I ask the media and public present to allow the families to be escorted out first before they leave.
Well, unless they make them go to
Again,
trial.
thank you to everyone for your stories today. I am strengthened by them, and I am encouraged by your humanity and strength. And God bless you. We're adjourned.
All right, that's it. If you were still in the courtroom, you would be seeing the bailiffs escorting Brian Kohberger off to the side of the court, where he will either be taken right back to jail. I think that they basically had today open for his case. They didn't have a lot of cases going on, so he might not just be waiting for the bus back to the jail. They might just be taking him straight back in his own bus. I'm not sure, but I would think that if there's no other cases going, they don't have like a bus of defendants to take back. And after that, they'll process him into the prison system, where he's going to be serving life. So we heard from the victims, the immediate family members. The court went in order of the indictment. So first we heard from Bethany and Dylan, the roommates on the burglary. Bethany, she had a friend speak a written statement on her behalf. Dylan, that was extremely brave what we saw of Dylan. I cannot imagine sitting there and facing this person who absolutely has changed their lives. They can't sleep at night. They have anxiety. They're always looking over their shoulders. They have been attacked on social media. They've been through hell.
She was so courageous.
So courageous. To get up there and use her voice. They're always looking over their shoulder. You know, her. Oh, I'm getting. Well, I guess once the YouTube went off there, it took us to our live and we were getting a little bit of feedback, but we're here. Got that figured out. So yeah, that was they had their voices. They can still speak, and for them to make a statement when their friends can't, that was very, very courageous. Maddie's family, we really learned what a light she was, how, I mean, they say it, if you light up a room, not usually a good thing if you watch Dateline. But this sounds like who Maddie was. They want to help others. It's not even worth addressing Brian Kohberger. When we heard from Maddie's family, really, it was focused on Maddie and who she was as a person. They said that they supported the pleas. They thanked the state. And they also asked everybody to do a kind act for Maddie. So you guys, channel surfers, get out there and do a kind act today for Maddie. And then on May 25th, that's Maddie's birthday. Go ahead and mark your calendars. Let's remember, let's do a kind act for Maddie on May 25th. They're calling it Maddie's May Day. Kaylee's family, they are pissed, understandably. But listening to them, I just wanted to go, ooh, get them. I mean, they came for Brian Kohberger. Olivia, Kaylee's sister, got a standing ovation. I think the winner here, the quote of the day came from Kaylee's little sister through her mom, which was, you may have been getting A's in college, but you're going to be getting big D's in jail.
Yeah.
They
shredded him.
They
and
shredded him.
Yeah, they hit every mark that probably would have affected him. His ego.
Not important. You're a failure. Yep. You couldn't even succeed at this. You tried to, you went, you killed what you thought were women who were sleeping. You're a coward.
Yeah, they did a good job of tearing down what they thought would be the things he felt were most important to him.
And they refused to call him by his name. They said BK.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had to step away momentarily, but I came back with Xana's family. Her stepdad said that she was funny. She's an angel now. Now, he said if he read what he wrote up, he'd probably get kicked out. So he went off script. And I want to know what he wrote up, because what he basically said was, go to hell, man. Just go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could take you out in the woods. I'll teach you a thing about pain. Just give me 5 minutes. He was like, you little wimp. And then we saw Xana's mom. She came with a message of forgiveness. She said that she has found Jesus through this, and she hopes that this inspires other people to find the Lord, and she hopes that Brian Kohberger finds the Lord. And because of her daughter, she thinks that's going to lead many people. So you see her, she's relying on her faith. She's found forgiveness, which we also saw one of Maddie's family members. Whenever the family talked about forgiveness, I cried. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I feel like I would probably be in that place of anger, like Haley's family.
Yeah, but I understand it because, when you can't forgive, you kind of hang on to things and you dwell on them. And sometimes
Right.
letting things go gives you the peace that you need to move forward in your life
hope
with
it
whatever
does.
the situation was.
I hope it gives them peace. Now the prosecution, they got up and they said, look, he pled to this. Let's just remind you, he said the whole time he was innocent. And then as soon as this Dateline thing got leaked, they came to us with the plea. And he admitted as part of his plea that he was guilty. We wouldn't take anything less, though. Like, he had to admit to everything. And basically, the only thing that's off the table is the death penalty. He needs to take everything else as charged. And he did it. Well, yeah, he did it to not get the death penalty. He sure did. I wonder why the prosecution seemed so focused on that, saying he admitted it, and to shut that door and make sure it doesn't open up. The gag order, I wonder what we're going to find out. We found out during the police that there was potentially during the victim impact statements, Kaylee's sister said that there was another weapon used.
Yeah. Me and you both said something about that because that was the first time I think we've heard anything about
First
a
time
second.
we've heard it.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what else comes out today. Now, the judge says that it's enough. Let the man go to jail and rot. Let's not have any more focus on him. We still have so many unanswered questions, but he said, don't do this for clicks. Don't do this for likes. Public has questions, though.
I'm sure the families have questions too, some of them. They probably still
Absolutely.
want to know.
We all have questions. And he said, kind of what I said at the beginning, there's no explanation for this.
Not any that anybody's going to understand.
No, because this is unfathomable. So he said that there was one judge that would come up with a redeeming factor for every person he sentenced. He even got down to this. One guy had good penmanship, which my penmanship's horrible. So take the compliments where you can get them. But this judge, he doesn't have anything positive to say about Kohberger. Now, was it just me, or did you feel like at the beginning of this, Dee, that Kohberger almost looked sympathetic? Like, he almost looked like he felt sorry for the families.
I was trying to watch him, and I think he was trying to stay as indifferent as he possibly could. I don't know if I saw that or not in the glances that I was doing. I didn't do it right away at the beginning. It was more once everybody started speaking, I started, watching him.
Looking.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have my glasses on. I can usually see pretty good up front, but I guess I'm playing a little trombone here. There were a few times it looked like his lip was quivering, but I was very surprised at the end when he told the judge he respectfully declined to say anything. He was furious.
He was furious. You could tell he was angry by the end of all of those impact statements.
Absolutely.
And after what the prosecution had said, and yeah.
The reactions are just very strange, and I'm not going to pretend to understand what's going on in his mind. Except right now, he is sitting in a cell waiting for them to whisk him off to jail, and then they'll process him into a prison, and he can start getting used to the rest of his life behind bars. And if there's any updates in this case, we'll let you know here on Remote Reality. I definitely want to know if anything comes of this Dateline leak. Who leaked it? Even though this case is over, the judge has said this is still something we need to look into. He said that the dissemination order, they still need to hold on to all their records, all the parties. So he is still looking into who did this leak. If we get anything on that. We will let you know if anything comes up. We'll let you know. If he files an appeal, it's going to be shot right down. I don't know that he will. The judge did say that that could be a violation of his plea. So, but do we think that the judge is going to revoke the plea on that and have a full out hearing and put the families through all of that because he appeals? That would be the alternative. Even from a cost standpoint, it's probably less expensive for it to go through an appeal than to have so many jurors and have to try this case. Another thing is in the plea, he waived the fifth. He admitted to it. It's interesting. But let's take the judge's word on this, that this case is closed. This case is settled. He who shall not be named, we'll just say BK. We will follow Kaylee's family's lead here. BK, he's going to jail for life. Times 4 plus 10. And we may not ever hear anything again. I think we will probably hear something, though, about the Dateline leak. We find out who did that, which of the parties did it. But other than that, that's a wrap on this case. All right, Channel Surfers. Well, I'll be back tonight, or maybe tomorrow for you guys, with a Big Brother, with Mama C. We're going to have, I think, the veto competition. We have not been following spoilers. And until then, I am about to go get some legal stuff done. Knock that out for a few hours before we get back to the podcasting. But thanks for hanging with us for the Kohberger case and the sentencing. That was very impactful. I'm just so thankful for everything that was said and everything that wasn't said. Ethan's family didn't appear, and that made an impactful statement. Not showing up, just said what everyone else said without saying it, which is, you're not worth our time. Are you still there, Dee?
Yes. I'm sorry. I was just letting you talk. I didn't want to interrupt.
Any closing thoughts for the Channel Surfers? Well, Dee's dog is barking, so there's her closing.
Harley
thought.
has something to say.
Harley has something to say. Probably go to hell. All right. Well, Channel Surfers, we will see ya tomorrow with Big Brother. Thanks for listening in on this. And yeah, take care. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Bye.